Hello there guitar players, my name's Michael and in this video I'm going to show you 3 exercises that you can use to develop much faster fingers. Now this is based off of my experience with exercises like the spider and the crab, which you may have heard of, which can be helpful but can also be a hindrance to your playing as well. So if you want to avoid falling into a trap that many beginner and intermediate guitar players fall into when building finger coordination and speed and dexterity, then these 3 exercises will help you bypass that and allow you to develop that coordination that you need in order to play faster. So if you've been trying to improve your finger speed and coordination, you've definitely come across some of these common exercises. Basically the 4-finger permutations, where you play a group of 4 fingers across multiple strings. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, where you play that on a single string and eventually work your way across all 6 strings. Now each finger combination has 6 permutations. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3, and 1, 4, 3, 2. And of course, if you start on the 2nd finger, there's 6 variations, the 3rd finger, 6 variations, the 4th finger, there's 6 variations. I remember first coming across these exercises in a copy of Guitar World magazine where they published Steve Vai's amazing 10-hour guitar workout, and he was talking about the importance of these exercises. And I definitely used these exercises, these permutations, and a variation called the spider and the crab, which you probably come across as well, to try and build up speed and coordination. The only problem with this though, and this is advice which has harmed the development of guitar players all around the world for decades, is the fact that these permutations don't really appear in real music. Now, if you're playing Flight of the Bumblebee, then yes, you're going to be using patterns like this, but the vast majority of music that we listen to, especially in a Western culture, doesn't have that much chromaticism, with the exception of jazz and things like that, but it's never playing all 12 notes in a row and using every finger on every string and every fret. What we do instead is base most of our music off of the major scale. Now, 98% of the music that you're going to be playing within a Western context is going to be played using the major scale, or at least one of its 7 modes. Now, this is good news, because if we just get good at playing the major scale, and more specifically, the 3 patterns which I'm about to teach you, which make up the major scale, then of course, things are going to get very easy for you. To use a sports analogy, if we wanted to get good at basketball, we'd have to practice shooting goals, passing the ball to our teammates, and catching the ball. If we get really good at those 3 skills, then we should be really good at basketball. Using similar logic, if we get really good at these 3 patterns which make up the major scale, which in turn makes up 98% of music, we should get very good very quickly by mastering a couple of simple moves. So what are these patterns? Well, basically we have a red pattern, a green pattern, and we have a yellow pattern. And I call this my traffic light system for memorizing the fretboard. Now, it actually started with the purpose of memorizing the fretboard, but as a byproduct, we came up with this really, really awesome technical exercise which is going to help you improve your speed, dexterity, and coordination. So let's look at the A major scale, for example. If I play the A major scale using a 3-note per string pattern, and I add the bonus ones on top, the first string, string number 6, is basically played using what I call the red pattern. It's a 5-fret stretch where our first finger plays the lowest note, our pinky plays the highest note, and our second finger plays the middle note. Then of course string number 5 is using the same pattern. Then when we go to string number 4, we can see that it goes 6, 7, 9. Now that is going to be our green pattern. It's only a 4-fret stretch. We use our first finger on number 6, our second finger on number 7, and our pinky on number 9. Now, not only is this helping you visualize the fretboard and learn your scales easier by using these colors as applied to a pattern, it's also giving you some rules for which fingers to use. Always use your first finger on the lowest number, your pinky on the highest number, and assign either your second or third finger in the middle, whatever makes logical sense. But it also is going to give us these finger exercises as well. So this is a triple whammy exercise for you. String number 3 is also going to use that green pattern and go 6, 7, 9. And then of course the last 2 strings are going to be our yellow pattern, going 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. So if we play through that A major scale while calling out the colors, I've got a red pattern, I've got the green pattern, another green pattern, I've got the yellow pattern, and the yellow pattern again. So that's the major scale there. If I play the minor scale, so I'll play A minor instead, I've got the yellow pattern twice, I've got the red pattern 3 times, red, 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 and on top I've got another green pattern. So every single one of our 7 modal shapes can be broken down into these 3 colors. And if we get used to playing these shapes as color coordinated or not, we're going to get good at putting together those scale patterns. And if, again, just one more example, if I play a scale across string number 1, this time E minor, 0, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, and 12, if I play that scale along there, any 3 consecutive notes are going to fall under one of the patterns. 0, 2, and 3, that's going to be the yellow pattern. 2, 3, and 5, that's going to be the green pattern. 3, 5, 7, that's a red pattern. Big stretch on that one. Then I've got 5, 7, 8, that's another yellow pattern. 7, 8, 10, that's a green pattern. 8, 10, 12, that's the red pattern again. Then I've got 10, 12, 14. Going beyond the octave, that's another red pattern. And then of course 12, 14, 15, that's our yellow pattern again. So hopefully this is about to make sense, the penny's about to drop. But if I take those scales, whether it's playing 3 notes, 3 consecutive notes on a single string, or whether I'm playing across multiple strings horizontally, I'm pretty much always going to be doing one of those 3 patterns. And there's going to be exceptions, of course, if we're doing some jazz licks and things like that, or we are actually adding in some chromaticism, we're always going to be playing some of those patterns. And even your pentatonic falls within that 4 fret rule. We've basically got our first finger on the lowest, our pinky on the highest, and there's nothing in between, but everything falls within those 4 frets there. So now that we've laid the groundwork for understanding the fretboard and the patterns and the colors and the shapes, we can move on to the actual technical exercises. So let's go to string number 1, fret number 5. We've got fret number 5 with our first finger, we have got fret number 7 with our third finger, and we've got fret number 8 with our pinky finger. What we're going to do is just play through those numbers. You can add a basic level. Level number 1 for this exercise is just go 5, 7, 8, pause, 5, 7, 8, pause, 5, 7, 8, pause. So that's level number 1. And you can do that 10, 20, 25 times. I wouldn't recommend going too far past 25. So if you do that 25 times, I guarantee you will develop much better control over your fingers. If you do that 25 times a day for a week straight, your fingers will be unbelievably responsive. And then you can transfer those saved movements to other contexts on the guitar. Now, moving on to pattern number 2, that first one was our yellow pattern. Now we're going to move on to the green pattern. And this is going to be 7, 8, and 10. So basically our first finger is going to do 7, our second finger is going to do the 8, and our pinky is going to do the 10. And once again, level 1, you're just going to go like this. And you're going to play that 10, 20, 25 times. That's going to really build up the dexterity of fingers once again, but now you're incorporating your second finger into the exercise. And finally, when we move on to the third pattern, the red pattern, guys, we always want to use our second finger in the middle. Sometimes it might not make sense. You might go, oh yeah, my first and third reaches easily and I can stretch across with my pinky. Your first and second finger is where you want to do the stretch, because then it makes it easier for the pinky, which is the weakest of the fingers. And then later on, when we start shredding up and down the neck, we're going to basically have our fingers trained to do some big stretches, and that will make it much easier to play fast and play solos later on. But getting back on track, we're going to play fret 8, fret 10, and fret 12. And you're going to do that nice and slowly 25 times. So to summarize what we did just then, we did the first pattern, the yellow pattern, 5, 7, 8. And you rest after that, and then you do that 25 times. Then we went 7, 8, 10. And you do that 25 times. Then you go 8, 10, 12. So that is your level 1 workout, which you should do for the first couple of days or even the first week. When you are ready for level number 2, we're going to revisit the same patterns, but what we're going to do is add in an extra note. And we're not really adding anything, we're coming back to the middle note and coordinating 4 notes in a row without stopping. So our exercise is going to go left note, middle note, right note, middle note. Left note, middle note, right note, middle note, or lowest note, middle note, highest note, middle note. Of course, make sure you flip it around, because obviously we're facing a different direction there, but I'm playing 5, 7, 8, 7, 5, 7, 8, 7, and I'm coordinating my fingers to go from one fret to the other smoothly. Now you want to do that 25 times, and once you've done that 25 times, move on to the next pattern, the green pattern. It's going to be 7, 8, 10, 8, and you're going to go through that little pattern there 25 times. Then you're going to go 8, 10, 12. So first finger, second finger, pinky finger, back to the second finger. So once you've done those 3 patterns 25 times each, you can call it quits on the practice session for that day. You don't have to over practice these things, but of course, if you do want to continue, get out the metronome and try and play along, keeping in time and of course bumping up your speed. But guys, don't do this for hours and hours and hours. Just do the minimum amount that you need. 25 good repetitions consecutively over a couple of days is going to do wonders for your playing and your finger coordination. Once you've done that for a week, you can go to level 3, and level number 3 is going to be the exact same notes and patterns. The only difference is we're going to change up the sequence that we do. So I'm going to play 5 and then 8 and then 7 back to 8. So this is basically a different sequence where we do the lowest note, the highest note, do the middle note, and then the highest note again. And this is going to be a tricky one to coordinate. Again, we laid a foundation in level number 1, we learned the notes. Level number 2, we gave ourselves a sequence to make things more challenging. And level number 3, we added an additional challenge with a more difficult sequence. And if we can get good at this one, it's going to do wonders for your playing. So do that 25 times going 5, 8, 7, 8. Then you move on to the next pattern and go 7, 10, 8, 10. Then of course move on to the red pattern there for 8, 12, 10, 12. Now the key is to go as slow as possible with this and every other exercise that you learn, of course. But progressively over a couple of weeks, you will be able to dramatically improve your playing and your finger coordination. And the whole reason why we're doing these shapes is because when you play your scales, or do scale sequences, and any licks and melodies that you're playing, they're all going to be using these shapes. For example, here's Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. Notice how that is a green shape, moving up to another green shape. So tons and tons of things that you're going to learn, melodies, guitar solos, licks, they all incorporate these 3 patterns. They're just different combinations, different arrangements of these 3 patterns. Unlike the chromatic exercises, where you are rarely going to play stuff like that in actual music. So guys, there you have it. Get good at these 3 patterns and that will make a world of difference to your guitar playing. As I said before, these 3 patterns make up our major scale, which makes up 98% of the music that we're going to be playing on guitar. So get good at these patterns. That'll help you get good at your scale and subsequently every other thing that you're trying to play on the instrument. If you found this lesson helpful, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date with more awesome guitar hack videos like this. I want to help you become a much better guitar player in the shortest amount of time possible with no BS guitar lessons. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.